All right. All right. Greetings, fellow washers. Welcome back to Powerwash Simulator. I pledged I'd be back. Oh, shout out to Coca-Cola. I pledged I'd be back, and boy, have I! I've been playing this game a bunch. It's not just not just for you guys, but I didn't want to show you guys any of this boring stuff. I wanted to go somewhere interesting when I finally got back to it. For starters, shout outs to you for watching. Thanks for coming along on this weird particular journey. I know the casual games are doing better than the hardcore games right now, but we're changing some things up. Post vacation, we're changing things up. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. Anyway, most of the people I've watched play Powerwash Simulator have been going through the campaign, which is just full of like boring stuff. So I wanted to do some of the more interesting stuff, and there's no money involved in these. They're just like washes you can do. So now that I have a bunch of the washers and things unlocked, I thought maybe I'd give some of them a try. And I was, like Gnome Fountain seems like it might be more interesting, but like the Locomotive is kind of my deal. We're gonna do the train. And they even limit the things you're allowed to have. Well, that's fine because I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do the wash. We'll see how long it lasts. We can, lock and loaded for about 30 minutes. Episode runtime has come under consideration, come under fire. A lot of other things like where I'm physically located. Oh, maybe I shouldn't cover the gun because this is a new gun. You guys don't know how long I fretted over making this recording. It's all the reasons why I haven't been recording. Like, honestly, if you're a hardcore fan of the channel, number one, shout outs. I appreciate you in every way I can. But number two, can you blow this tumble? Yeah, you can. Wait a second. I'm just going to have fun with this tumbleweed. Whoa, what's happening? Tumbleweed. Tumbleweed. Sprint after tumbleweed. Can I kick the tumbleweed? Does it just go if I kick it? Yeah, you can. Tumbleweed. Are there any more tumbleweeds? Can I get like a bunch of tumbleweeds? What's this? This stuff is broken. It's not something I shoot. Tumbleweed! Aren't steam locomotives extraordinary piece of engineering? Would you like to know more about how they work? Sure, Bertha Jefferson. Tell me all about it. I have been playing this game a great deal, as you probably saw. The contrast between the menus, probably between the last time there was a recording of this. Would you like some salacious gossip on my brother? I got plenty of that. Honestly, Bertha, whichever way you want to go with it, I am down. What all did they? I got everything. They gave me everything. I got the shorty, I got the longo. I bet you I got all the nozzles. They gave me a bunch of soap, but for starters, white is whack. So let's just start without the white. There is not a ton of variance in how the equipment works and what its utilization is, but it is there. Like if you want to do it efficiently, I hesitate to use the word efficient in terms of this game because really there is no efficient way to do this. It's just like a lot of work. But if you want to make sure you don't have to redo it over and over a bunch, if you want to make sure you don't have to the 99% disease, there are some steps you can take, some of the tools you can use in a more efficient fashion to make sure it's a workable, job. Anyways, I, aside from the 99%, don't really get too hung up on getting the job done. I generally just however long it takes is however long it takes. That's why I've been hesitant to do the recordings the way that I have. Like with some of the other series where I'm just like, no, you guys are gonna watch every flipping minute. It's like, man, there'd be so many minutes. Not that I couldn't keep up the chatter, I just don't think the game is that interesting for all that many minutes. But as a result, I think I discussed in my other one, the plan is to do a little bit of something interesting, and then I'll just wrap it up on my time. And certainly that seems like a better way to expose the world to some of the more later builds in the game. Later washes, I guess, they're not builds. It's kind of interesting to classify this game in terms that you use for other genres, but that's for another type of video entirely. I'm just sitting here to BS with you guys. Sorry, this is on a Sunday. Sunday traditionally the numbers don't do very well. What is that? That's an extra long extension. I don't have that right yet, but this is pretty up close and personal job. The weekends are bad. The weekends are bad. I imagine if I was a bigger YouTuber, if I had more followers, subs, which now's a good time to hit the sub button, maybe ding that bell. Weekends would be good because I recognize that is probably when most of the gaming space is watching. Maybe they're gaming, but I think a lot of people who watch a ton of YouTube in the gaming space, this is probably when they're doing it, but because I'm nobody, you know, they're watching other people. My videos just go in the toilet on the weekends. And so I run the other games that are not so important, you know. I shouldn't say important, but like it's less likely to catch fire, in my opinion. I could be totally off base. I use it, but you know, I do like to put my methodology, my reasoning out there, you know, my reasoning out there. So the idea being, yeah, the music is actually a little loud now. It got louder like the second I actually started recording. That's probably gonna be too loud. I'm so worried about the audio. No, I can't see me. Oh, there's the beat. Anyways, it should still be pretty mellow music, so even if it's loud, it shouldn't be like jarring, annoying. I have been worried about which, you know, royalty-free playlist I'm gonna put on while I do this, and certainly if you have any suggestions, I'm open to it. Feel free to send me a link. This is just basically the first thing that popped up on YouTube when I did the search for royalty-free music. I'm not even sure if it's going to be royalty-free because, you know, less about royalty-free and more about what artists are telling YouTube to strike their videos and their content. So it's possible that some of these royalty-free artists, you know, or some of these songs that wind up in these royalty-free playlists ain't quite so royalty-free on the YouTube platform. But again, I'm barely monetized here. I just like to make shorts, and I can't do that if I go to strike. Anyways, I don't know how many shorts I'm going to make on a Powerwash simulating video. I guess that's kind of the difference between a hardcore game versus a casual game. This is just like something for me to play, to kind of fill the space, to make sure the channel's got 7 days worth of content versus something like, I don't know, Hollow Knight, or I hasten to say like Minecraft, where it's like, yeah, that's something fun that's going to happen, man. Like I'm going to definitely gonna make a couple of shorts out of this. Anyway, the new plan is less about content every day, believe it or not. Like content every day is still gonna be an end goal. It's not gonna go away. I'm gonna keep on uploading videos every single day of the week, and certainly each day having a special connotation isn't gonna stop. If only because like that's just the dumb way my brain works, and I can't undo it. But I'm gonna get less hung up on not being able to make a certain recording on a certain day because I was blowing through some recordings, blowing through some games, like the videos, and I was like, boy, I would like that to stretch that out, to put it on early access, to maybe not have it interfere with some other stuff. You know, it trips my brain up, and so that kind of culminated in a lot of shelter work, right? Like I went on vacation, and when I came back from vacation, I was jazzed. I was ready to work on shelter, and I did because you know I was gonna make a choice between playing video games for like no profit or like making a video game that I might someday at least make $2 a person on. I'm gonna work on that game anyway. It's going really well. And we'll talk about that probably in a different video, or maybe this one if we go on for a little while. We're at 8 minutes, so who knows where my brain's going to wander to. But I was on the channel tangent. We just, you know, I was just like, do I stress myself out doing this video on Wednesday, this video on Tuesday, this video on Thursday? And I couldn't make myself do it, man. You know, it was new stuff going on in my life. It's like, do you really, like, is this what you want to waste those last precious hours of the day on? And I don't. So, I didn't. I mean, it's still gaming, right? Like, who's sitting here complaining about gaming? Me. But the idea is that it's supposed to be fun, and also it should be like the games I want to play when I want to play. So, you know, even when it doesn't, when my insane methodology doesn't exactly jive with what video games I'm trying to play at the moment in time, I gotta just like not fight against it, because it was you know, like I came back from vacation and I'm like, this is the wrong vibe for me to be jumping on the mic. You know, I don't want to be hostile towards my fans or towards anybody who might be watching this because I don't feel like playing this video game right now, and here I am doing it. And it's the kind of thing that I definitely have seen other YouTubers, you know, like kind of develop, maybe not healthy, but at least like a mild disdain for the task at hand. I mean, we all complain about work, but it's video games, you know, it's supposed to be fun. And so I think the recording the vibe of the recording should be fun too. Even if you're doing a fun thing, you can certainly turn it into an unfun activity. And I don't want my recordings to be unfun, you know, like obs. That's like an obvious intention slash goal, but it just, you know, sometimes I need to say it for myself to remind myself why we got started on this in the first place, why we do it every day. Anyway, spent a lot of time thinking about that last week, especially with Shelter, you know, like kind of burning a hole in my brain while I was on vacation. I said I was going to work on it a bunch while I was on vacation. I didn't. I just had fun on vacation, you know, just talk to people, just like chatted, hang out, smoke, drank, chill, saw some friends. So at no point was I like, you got to bring your laptop out, man. You got to bring your laptop out and write some code. But like the second I got home, I mean, a couple activities aside, I was like ready to rock and roll. And so that's really what I did every time I had a couple of minutes free. Is that I put my brain in a headlock and I said, "Listen, we're gonna finish this Shelter thing because time." You know, now it even seems silly. I'm so far past whatever problem it was, but there was something that I could. Oh, it was the stupid walkers. They wouldn't eat. Stopped eating. It's not true. I made them eat a very long time ago. That was, you know, code basically ported in from Agent Black, like verbatim. But then I taught it's the Shelter. It's multiple levels. You know, it's like a big old kind of like elevator action, kind of like tiny tower, kind of like Spy versus Spy. There's just a lot of different rooms, and you go up and down anyway. You know, something I didn't really maybe not think about, but like I didn't think it was going to be this serious. Hang on a second. I'm just gonna seize my brain back. How the little guys get in between the floors? You know, like all these games. I haven't played too many games like this. You know, in the 2D space, in the 3D space. I guess in 3D space they probably have the same problem, but it's just like, how do you handle NPCs getting around, right? Like when they're walking around on a flat plane, it's like, yeah, whatever. But then it's like, okay, but now you want them to be in this thing down below, and it's like the player can teleport, or jump, or do something or whatever. But it's like, what do these dumb NPCs do? And in this game, where there isn't really a player character, you're just kind of like watching. It's like, well, they have to have a really convincing way of getting down. They can't just like disappear and then be on a different floor of the Shelter. So it took a while to actually design a lot of that stuff, to actually put it. See, I knew I'd be in the way over there. It took me a way to actually design, you know, just how that was going to happen. You know, Fallout Shelter and some of the others kind of do like a generic elevator thing, and those are neat. But part of Shelter's deal is that I do want it to be like really, like just to have options. So I didn't want it to just be, you can really customize the rooms, you can really have the walkers do a million different things, but they always go up and down in between floors the same way. And also I had a lot of different ideas, you know, there was some crazy ideas like teleporters, like a crazy springboard and whatnot that just like propels them between floors, but also like really milquetoast ones that were like, or maybe they just take the stairs, you know, or maybe there's like an escalator or something like that they slowly ride up and maybe like bob their head while they listen to some music or whatever. Anyway, when that stuff stops being just like pen and paper, or more accurately like Google Sheets and Google Word docs in the game, you know, it was just like, all right, well, we ain't never done anything like this code-wise, you know, like all the game systems I've designed, all the stuff I've built for pseudo NPCs, AI characters to do, like traversing the elevators was never a thing. So it kind of busted my brain a little bit hardcore while I was. Which one am I using? I'm using these spots. Is this spots here? We have to get some metal cleaner for that, which I think we have. But my kind of methodology is, you know, again, because I got all the patience in the world. That's not true. But for this game, you know, because I'm deliberately not rushing. Is that I'm doing kind of a paint by numbers thing where I'm just going to try and get it as clean as I can get it by myself, just like on visual confirmation alone, and then like I'll go back through with the like proper cleaners. You know, like it's again very similar to how I play normal games, that I get good at using the default stuff rather than the specialized gear. But in this game, particularly, what I just find is that the more efficient you try to clean, the more hardcore you're like, this is the best way to clean this. This is way you're supposed to shoot this is the longer you take. You know, like the more efficient you try and make your wash, the longer you take your wash, because nothing works optimally. Nothing works 100%. Nothing is the true gangbuster solution. It just requires a lot of labor. So I don't have a problem doing the labor on the front end, especially in the current circumstances, which is like we're playing this instead of God of War. God of War is a super violent game, and so it wound up on Sundays where violent games belong on my channel. But guess what? It's not current. And I hate saying that, but I'm running a YouTube channel here. I ran a poll the other day. Shout outs to you if you voted, but also just shout outs to you if you saw it. I'm not sure how the algorithm controls if you see my posts, but I ran a poll, and people said that the next game they want to see at the front, you'll see a cow catcher. You know, like the writers obviously had some fun with this one. I can only imagine what sort of mind enjoys power washing or the concept of power washing so much that they would dream up an entire game, much less a narrative to go along with it. So shout outs to them for powering the rest of us who didn't have this idea. I can't even think of it. You know, like Mario has done some games. I guess there's been a lot of like Jet Set Radio type of games. Hey, food tagged or whatever, but this is really the first game that was just like, no, you just need to hit the entire map. You're just trying to hit the map. Anyway, more palatable for the masses apparently than God of War. Those videos do okay, but the poll says what you psychos want is Sons of the Forest, and Sons of the Forest is kind of in that sweet spot of horror where it's not too violent that I'm gonna get like a content strike or have to worry about a mature warning or anything, but it's also like thrilling enough where something is gonna happen every episode. I'm not gonna have to try too hard. I've seen Mark play it a couple of episodes. It actually, you know, like honestly, what I try to do a lot of times is, and you can't because that dude is insane, predict which games he's not gonna finish, right? Because there's a lot of things I do want to watch him play that I don't necessarily care to play, but if he stops playing it, it's like, well, I do want to see what happens next. And then there's other games that he's played that I purposely don't watch his playthrough because the game is so interesting and so fascinating that I, definitely want to experience it on my own. And watching his video is going to be a little much for me anyway. A very different thing between me and Markiplier is that his, especially in this phase of his career, is that he does a podcast with his buds, and as a result, that drives a lot of the videos he does too. A ton of his YouTube content is just after they run a podcast episode, then they all record together like a multiplayer game or whatever, and that is, content for for all three of them. And they get, the cross promotion because everybody wants to watch Mark, everybody wants to watch Bob, everybody wants to watch Wade's Genius or whatever. But I'm not doing this enough to do that. I don't think I'm that interested enough in like cross playing with somebody else to make the content. I mean, I will, like if a friend wants to play with me in a video game, but I don't think that's the content I want to make. I think I really like this model where I make content based on games that are just like, I want to run through this game, or content where like a friend of mine says they're interested in this game, and I just happen to have it as free time or whatever. So the point of that dissertation is I don't like watching the videos. Like there's some games that Mark has played with his friends that I just not even want to watch them because they're not my kind of videos and that kind of stuff I want to watch. But they are games I wanted to see, and Sons of the Forest looks like one of those, but then he went and played it solo. He didn't play it with his friends, even though it's like ripe for the picking. And so I'm torn, because I do want to play this game, but I also want to watch Markiplier play this game. Anyway, it's a race, because my Patreon, which, hey, shout outs to my Patreon. If you haven't signed up for my Patreon, let me just tell you about it. Links down below, in the link below, that'll take you to truewarriors.net, and, dirt? Yeah, it's like right here in the middle. Am I on the shorty? I'm not. Shorty. Okay, shorty shooting shorties. Patreon, I only have one tier on there right now because I've got some other stuff cooking, but it's early access. Early access for my videos. There's a whole playlist called Early Access that has a lot of videos, but it has a few that have been recorded, but for one reason or another are just not going to be on the channel. You know, again, the bigger my channel goes, you know, eventually it might make more sense to do that. It might make more sense to like force feed it to the masses or whatever, but right now they're just like fun recordings I did for games that nobody gets to watch until their day comes up, and there's actually going to be a lot more of them coming forward because I'm doing less of like, let's run every video every single day, and more of the let's play a pile of Hollow Knight or this or that, and then just like have it lying around for the foreseeable future. You know, like just have that be Wednesday's game, just have that be Tuesday's game. Just for the numbers, you know, like it seems to suck to have the stuff bounce around like that. It seems to be much more consistent. Oh my god, it's so bad still. I didn't do it at all. Yeah, I think that's so much work to do. Forgot my train of thought. The grossness and the schmutz just like got to me. Anyway, Sons of the Forest seems like it's going to be a great pick for Sundays. Good shorts, you know, good activity, and I want to see how the game goes, so I'll be engaged. So God of War, bye-bye. I thought about maybe giving it one more final episode on the channel before I kind of take it offline, but I don't think anyone's going to be heartbroken by it going. I suppose this is your chance to rescue it, because I'm going to be busy this week. I probably won't get to play it, so if the numbers are good on this, / somebody watches it and is like, no, Sam, you can't not play God of War, then perhaps. Well, what I'll probably do is I'll put it on early access. I couldn't, you know, like I wanted to just play Sons of the Forest already. It would have been the game that I'm playing right now. But I've actually never cashed out my Patreon before. Like I've never actually got the money out of there. And they have, you know, like a verification, authentication, you're the person, you know, like process, and as a result, you know, like, so I'm not going to get the money. I wasn't going to get the money in time to do this Sunday's recording. Which is something I should have, you know, like, I know I should have been on it, but I was on vacation. I was on vacation. Anyway, while I was on vacation, I did come up with good ideas for new games, and since I'm not really a secret keeper, you guys can hear all about it right now. Monday is going to stay Minecraft Day, you know, I'm maybe not sorry that I skipped last week, but I felt a little bit of remorse. And then Tuesday is still going to be Hollow Knight, because that game just doesn't seem to end, and that's great, because I love it. Wednesday, Supermarket Simulator. I do have some Supermarket Simulator fans, and as you're watching this today, there is definitely another episode of that, another couple episodes of that in the can. I might actually play it later after I finish the ribs. Yeah, I'm making ribs tonight. And then Thursday is still Animal Day. And yes, it's still Animal Day. There's just not going to be a game if I'm not playing an animal game. Anyway, I don't have an animal game I wanted to play. I mean, I do, but I was tired on Wednesday, so I didn't record it. But next week, again, when Patreon pays me, I will have Animal Well, which may not be about animals, but I think it is, you know, like I keep seeing some graphics of a cat in the promotional materials a lot, and it's got animal in the name, so I figure it's got to count. Anyway, that'll be Thursday's game, and that game I don't think is super huge, but it should run for a good while, long enough for me to also get back to Stray. That is the other animal game that I just need to get back to. If you do sign up for my Patreon, there is definitely a couple episodes of Stray on there that I just won't air, like I refuse to schedule in, because I had some technical issues. And I don't want to go back to it until I'm ready to go back to the game. But I'm thinking if I can get like the animal thing going, you know, like finally get an animal game, because again, like I love cattails, but it's not interesting recording. And like Shadow of the Colossus, The Last Guardian, I do love that game. It's gonna break my brain if I have several recordings without my voice and several recordings with my voice, and I know that there already are. Like I'm consciously cognizant of the fact that that's already the situation. That's why there aren't more recordings, because I honestly can't decide if I want to do it with the mic on or off, or just not play it anymore. Anyway, I do love the game, and I do want to see the ending, so eventually it'll probably get to me, but I have a feeling it might be on a stream, I might not have the mic on, I might, you know, like who knows how I'm going to finish The Last Guardian on this channel. But it's another thing that you could definitely control if you decide to leave me a comment on this or any other video, just jump in there and let me know your feelings on the matter, and I'll get back to it. There is a video among The Last Guardians that does particularly well. I don't know why. I think it might have something to do with the thumbnail. Anyways, that video gets a lot of views, but it doesn't get a lot of, I guess I'd call it traction, not a lot of, like, indication that people are enjoying it. Alright, so that's pretty much all the dirt. I don't want that. I want this. Is this the whole thing? Is this the whole thing I'm washing? There's nothing, like, crazy out here I'm also supposed to shoot, because sometimes there's, like, a crazy door or something in the distance you're also supposed to shoot, like a cat. Wow! Wow! It's the second time that's happened to me today, and it never crashes. It's never crashed other than this. That's crazy. Well, I said I'd give you guys about 30 minutes of something interesting, so flibbity flobbity floop. Shout outs to you for watching.